Ozzie Smith and I were two very different shortstops. I mean, Ozzie caught the ball in front of the bag and then flipped it and threw the ball over his shoulder to a perfect start of a double play. He did it, I think, pure range, because I wish that I could be Ozzie Smith, stand right in the middle and cover everything to your right and everything to your left. And I did it with cutting down on the area that I had and positioning myself better, but our results were very similar.
Welcome, everybody. This is the MLB Network Podcast presented by All-Star lineup of Chevy trucks. I'm Brian Kenny. Good to be with you. Our guest today, one of the all-time greats, someone my research shows to be the best shortstop in baseball history. He is the all-time leader at the position in WAR, home runs, total bases, and slugging percentage. He continues to be a leader in baseball at the major league level as part of the current Orioles ownership group, and also in youth baseball as the lead in Ripken baseball. We welcome in Cal Ripken Jr. Cal, it's Brian Kenny. Great to have you on the show. Always good to talk baseball with you.
It's fantastic to be on the show with you. I'm just sitting here thinking from the introduction. I knew I liked analytics for a reason.
Right. You didn't know you were the all-time WAR leader when you were playing. WAR wasn't there. They retroactively went back and they tried to use, again, your obviously your volume is very favorable with the WAR, but also the sheer amount. We're going to talk about this. Your assists, putouts, we had zone rating back in the day. So So the new metrics that went back and found you. By the way, you're even better than you thought. How about that?
I was handing out the Gold Glove awards a couple of years ago, and it was said the Gold Gloves are by the coaches and the managers subjectively at the time. And I thought that I had a couple of really great years, that I was more deserving of the Gold Glove than a couple of years that I won. And they now do it with different analytics. And they came back and they said they went back and looked at my numbers or the years that I had, and they said, you should have won a whole lot more Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
And that acknowledgement, because I was considered more the offensive shortstop, the big guy that could play in the middle of the infield. But I took pride in my defense. And so I was really happy to hear that, how my statistics or how they measured up against the other great shortstops.
It's funny because now, I work with your brother, and he's not big on the defensive metrics. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I always try to say it's better than what we had, right? It's at least more sophisticated. Of course, now, a lot of times the StatCast metric conflicts, especially at shortstop. It conflicts with the defensive runs saved. So I don't know where we are, but I like having more information than not having it, which in your day it was like reputation, right?
Yeah, in many ways it was. I think now I'm at a point in my life now where I'm learning about the analytics and how they are used in the modern game. And so as part of the ownership group now, I think I asked more questions. Okay, what's the level of thinking? Because I was always very analytical. And the key is to try to figure out what is the data that can help me become a better player. So I'm asking questions all the time. I wish I had all the information that is available to the players now, because then you could make those judgments. The positioning one, which I was known for in my career, is you learn the pitchers, you learn the matchups, you learn the hitters' tendencies, where they're hot, where they're not, where they're going to hit the ball. And then you make these subtle adjustments at the moment that you need to.
Right.
And sometimes I think the analytics just look at, okay, just play rotely in this position. And I always think, God, it's good to play in that position because that's where you're going to get it. But then you can refine those positions and get to a few more balls. You know
where I think something that's not measured, we on MLB Now, Cal, we do a thing called Baseball-y Plays every show. And what I try to show is, I'm trying to show good relays. I think we don't quantify the effectiveness of relays and how good a guy is throwing the ball to the plate. It's just not if it's an assist, that doesn't quite capture the importance of throwing a guy out at the plate. And I see the same guys and the same teams show up on Baseball-y Plays. How much do you think we're missing from that, which are vital plays, because guys go to second, third, and home?
Well, managing of the game is a really important thing. I mean, when you talk about a cutoff and relay position, I kind of look at things differently. A cutoff position is a position where you have to manage the throw coming in. Mm-hmm. I'm making the decision whether it's going to be safe or out. The old rule was you get in your cutoff position and you listen for the guy, say the third baseman who's receiving the throw, to cut it, cut second, let it go, and those sorts of things. To me, I'm taking all that data in and I'm backing up, and I'm the person that's managing that throw. And so you keep the back runner from getting into scoring position, or you take that out, and then you're in the dugout and you minimize an inning. All the baseball things I'm finding that we used to really accentuate, sometimes they're forgotten. And I think the cutoff relay is forgotten. The relay, there's a spacing between the outfielder and you. If you have a really good arm and your outfielder doesn't have a good arm, then you're making the space.
Right.
We got into a wonderful conversation at the Hall of Fame this year with Cal Ripken Jr. So we were sitting there, Biggio and I were sitting there, and Biggio was talking about, just get the ball to me. We're the important guys. And Ken says, well, don't come out so far then. He says, I'm the one that's got the better arm. Let me make the longer throw so you can make the shorter throw. So it was kind of fun going back and forth, but there is an element of truth to that. The ball needs to be thrown to the right base, management of the ball, so that you can minimize an inning or record an out, or stop the circus innings from happening.
Right. It's a subtle thing. I don't think we're near close on quantifying the effects of that. Along those lines, it's like a new golden age of shortstop. You mentioned your Orioles. They have Gunnar Henderson, there's Bobby Witt, Corey Seager, Lindor, Ellie De La Cruz. But I'm wondering, are we getting just better offensive players that can man that position, given the fewer ground balls that are now being hit? I have an example. Like in 1984, you had 906 chances. Bobby Witt, who won the Gold Glove last year in the American League at shortstop, had 583. You had 906. He had 583 last year. You had 584 assists. He had 361. I mean, the volume it's like a completely different game. So are these guys just better athletes, guys who can hit like your size that can play shortstop, or are we just in a totally different game that you can put an a better offensive player at short?
Well, I would imagine the first place I would go with that is that people strike out a whole lot when they make the outs. They don't make contact, and slugging percentage out of 2 strikes, not cutting down your swing is valued more than sometimes putting the ball in play.
Right.
But I would argue, it seems like it's changed the last couple of years, is that the smaller ball, putting the ball in play, I think I looked a couple of weeks ago at the teams that strike out the least, and they're in the best positions to make the playoffs. And that didn't used to be the case. So it stands to reason, if you're not putting the ball in play and you're recording it out with a fly ball or a strikeout, the ground balls are going to be more minimal. But I love that you brought that up, is that Azie Smith and I were 2 very different shortstops. But I think somebody quoted me the stat that we're the only 2 shortstops, maybe since the World War II era, whatever else, that had 900 chances in the season. Azie had it one year, and I had it one year. And so he did it, I think, pure range, because I wish that I could be Azie Smith, stand right in the middle and cover everything to your right and everything to your left. And I did it with cutting down on the area that I had and positioning myself better, but our results were very similar. So that year was, I didn't win the Gold Glove that year either.
You got jobbed. There's a reason, though, right, that I don't think it was that they didn't think a big guy could play that position. I think there's a reason. Larry Boa, Mark Belanger, Don Kessinger, Eddie Brinkman, right? Like that year after, you had to have a real defensive guy there at short to devour the heavy output of ground balls, right? Like I don't think you could go back in time and say, hey, put Bobby Witt there now. I think that might change.
I mean, the defensive position at shortstop was emphasized, and it was a smaller guy that could cover a lot of ground. You think of Louis Aparicio maybe in that sense with the Orioles. I would argue, and I still contend now, that the athletes have gotten bigger and stronger and faster, and they can see other plays, and they make these fantastic, seen other people do it, and they practice it and do all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't say, like A-Rod and Jeter and those guys, they could play in any era. Mm-hmm. You could put either one of them in any era, and you have the same degrees of success.
Just like diehard fans of Major League Baseball, Chevy trucks show up no matter what. Because the Chevy lineup of trucks has always stepped up to the plate and helped hard-working people get things done. Visit Chevy.com/trucks to find the truck that can take you from the ballpark to the work site. and back again.
Back here on the MLB Network Podcast, I'm Brian Kenny, back with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. Cal Ripken baseball is huge in youth baseball. You tell me, what is the state of youth baseball these days? How has it changed? Where are we at now?
I think it's very healthy. I know for years we were looking at numbers that said participation is down, but it seems like of those who participated, they were playing more of it.
Yeah.
And the enthusiasm was really great. I know specializing in sport and playing more baseball, sometimes I'm concerned that a kid so young is not ready for that many games, mentally, and you almost take the fun out of learning the sport at an early age. But if you're really into it, travel teams, you're competing, you're having experiential moments. I know Billy and I, when we started our Ripken baseball, and we tried to bring a level of big league fun or things that happen in the big leagues. You have all the amenities around. We built stadiums or fields. We couldn't really build stadiums. Fields to actually emulate Fenway Park and Wrigley Field and give you an element of what it feels like to be in the big leagues. And so I think the experiential moment was really important to us because Billy and I got a chance to live it. We got a chance to grow up and stay kids and know what it feels like to play in the real Fenway. We wanted to give those experiences to the kids. And by and large, our World Series and all the things that we had, there's a great enthusiasm for baseball. We experience it. And I think the game is growing. I haven't looked at the numbers in a long time, but it seems like there's a lot more emphasis or marketing of the game, different aspects of the game. For years, Billy and I tried to figure out how do you produce a game. You might change the rules a little bit in the game. You might only have one strike as opposed to 3 strikes. Mm-hmm. How do you make the game sort of move? How do you challenge the younger players to learn the game and base running? Because if you're not hitting, it's a pretty boring game. You're not on base. You get to hit 3 or 4 times in a game. You don't get to run the bases. So we were trying to figure out how do you have all kids that play the game can experience all parts of the game. I don't think we were 100% successful, but just the idea of that and trying to pass that on to kids, I think really helped with the enthusiasm because we played wiffle ball. We played cup ball under the stadium when Dad was in the minor leagues. So we entertained ourselves in a creative sense. We had a broomstick, took the end of the broom off and then we taped up balls. We did all kinds of things. I think that's missing a little bit in the development of kids right now, that fun aspect of it. But from where we sit, kids are really enjoying the game and acting like big leaguers.
Let me ask you about that specifically, because I've seen with a lot of guys who make our baseball-y plays, like baseball awareness plays, that just have a feel for the game. A lot of them, like Mauricio Dubon, I'm interviewing him. Where did you grow up? Not in the United States. Like, is there something lost with the regimentation of uniforms, official ball games, as opposed to probably, again, you're describing you and your brothers just playing and making up games. What's lost? What's gained there?
Yeah, I think you're onto something. You feel that you can't try things. You can't take risks in a more formal sort of environment because if I take a risk and it doesn't work, then we lose the game or, we cost our team something. There's a responsibility. There's a creativity to the looseness of a pickup game where it doesn't matter the results. You're not being judged for the results. I remember when I was a kid, games weren't that much on TV. I'm dating myself a little bit now. And you got a chance to watch the All-Star game because you saw all the great players there. Yeah. And every once in a while you see the highlights that came in. And then you practice trying to make a jump throw or make a dive and throw from your knee or doing different things. I'll give you an example. Bo Jackson on Joe Orsulak. He catches the ball over his shoulder. He's full speed into the wall in Memorial Stadium, and he runs up the wall.
Right. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And the next day, we all went out there to the spot. We were like thinking, "Could you want to try it? Do you want to run up there?" And we all kind of chickened out. We just said no. But that's one of those things when you see it, you're super curious if you can do it.
Right. Now, I have a specific question here. Again, given all your experience, and a lot of people would want to know this. Let's say there's a mom and dad, and they've got a good young ball player, and they want him to have a chance at, say, I don't know, D1, college, maybe the pros. What is the biggest bit of advice you would give them?
be aware of your actions and your words. Try not to put more pressure on them by your expectations and your worry. If you have a good, talented kid, give them the opportunity. You can give them lessons, and I would highly recommend, don't try to teach during the game. Teach after the game is over, maybe the next day when you had a chance to think about what it is you want to say. And the child is way more receptive when he's calmed down. Baseball is an emotional game, especially when you fail. And I think many parents, want to have on the ride home, they want to have this post-game analysis, and they want to go over everything because they don't want to forget. I would contend that the kid will forget in about 5 minutes if you let them, and then you can start anew tomorrow. So I think anytime you're thinking about, be very careful of what pressures you put on. There's a lot of pressure in travel baseball and showcase events and all those kind of stuff now. Try to be there to counter that pressure a little bit. Try to give them the freedom to go out and showcase who they are and how they do it. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try too hard. Most of us who really want it bad have made the mistake of going out and trying to make it happen.
Cal, just quickly, are parents worse these days? I mean, there's more of an investment. You got to travel, you got to pay, you got to get there. Are parents worse, or where are we?
I think I used to let Billy just deal with the irate fans and our kids. For the parents,
he's the man for the job. Yeah.
The parents that would yell and scream and all that kind of stuff, and you really felt bad for the kid, under those scenarios. And I think now with the stakes being higher and all that kind of stuff, you can see the pressure building. I try to tell parents sometimes, I go, look, act like how grandparents act when they go to a game. The coolest thing in the world, you sit there and watch the grandparents. They
right.
bring they sit over there, they're doing a crossword puzzle. They look over their thing when Joey's up to plate or whatever else, and they wave at him for a minute. Then when something happens, they go back to doing what they're doing. That's supportive, but it doesn't put any pressure on the kids. So parents, I think, if they take a key from their parents, are good just to take it in, so you can give them some information at a later date, but don't play into the emotional stuff that happens during the game.
By the way, I think that transcends baseball. Yeah, parent like a grandparent. We can all learn from that. That's fantastic advice. We'll take a short break. When we come back, rapid fire questions for Cal Ripken Jr. when we come back on this MLB Network podcast.
The farmer's dog thinks about your dog every day because their goal is to help them live a long, healthy life. Their food is developed by a team of board-certified vet nutritionists. Unlike most pet foods, the farmer's dog is made to human-grade standards. It's gently cooked without the ultra-processing and portioned for easy weight management. Because sure, good ingredients matter, but the best recipes call for so much more. Get 50% off your first box of the official pet food of Major League Baseball at thefarmersdog.com/MLB. That's thefarmersdog.com/MLB.
It was 30 years ago that Cal Ripken Jr. broke Lou Gehrig's record consecutive games played, September 6, 1995. Didn't miss an inning for 5 years, went from 1982 to 1998. That was the game at shortstop. I think, Cal, your record is safe, right?
Yeah, I think so. I was just thinking, how do I feel about anniversaries? I got to be careful in the anniversary or reunion type things. I was always someone not to want to look back, but to kind of continue to look forward. This 30-year anniversary, the Orioles, have some good ideas and some plans. I'm going to see some people that I haven't seen in a long time. I guess when you reach a certain age, and I'll be 65 next week, you do have a lot to look back on, and you still want to look forward, but it's still fun to go back and remember those moments like the 21-31 night. I
think you're allowed to look back on this once in a while. By the way, Matt Olson has the current streak. He only needs like 11 more years, and he'll get near you. And he's,
So what's his number up to now?
He's over in the 700s. Yeah. He's got a ways to go. I think your record's. I think anybody's even trying to shoot for it. All right, it's time for Fresh Take, presented by the Farmer's Dog. Cal, I want to do a little rapid fire. Quick questions, quick answers. You ready for that? Just like quick bullet points. Ready to do it?
I'm an analyzer, not a reactor, but I'll try.
Yeah, just boom. Right. Yeah, it's fast. Move fast. Quick. Duck.
Okay.
Favorite major leaguer as a kid?
Brooks Robinson.
Best defensive outfielder you've seen with your own eyes?
Devon White.
Give me a manager you would have liked to have played for.
I hated Tony La Russa, but I think I would have liked to play for him.
Okay. Favorite baseball card as a kid?
That's a good one. We rarely got Orioles players, and I wanted to collect them. Kurt Flood, maybe.
Okay. All right.
A bunch of Floods.
All right. You're driving later today. You're by yourself. You can listen to anything you want. What music are you listening to?
R&B, soulful, although I'm getting into jazz a little bit now.
Okay. 70s or pop or like before?
70s is good.
Okay. All right. There. Give me a shortstop that impressed you while you were playing shortstop.
Alan Trammell.
Okay. At your peak, how many push-ups could you do?
50.
Really? The over-under for you was like 100. I thought you were like some maniac. No?
I never tried to see how many I could do. I was a pull-up, push-up guy because my dad thought military exercises were safer.
I could say I didn't ask you how much you bench because I figured you were pulling up and push up and doing Marine stuff, that sort of thing. Give me a movie you can watch again and again. Just pops up on TV. You like to watch it.
A Few Good Men.
Okay, yeah, that is a good one. There's an open draft right now in the majors. Exclude all the Orioles. You can't pick them. You have the #1 pick, Cal. Who would you pick?
Bobby Witt.
Bobby Witt. All right. Who got in more trouble as a kid, you or your brother Bill?
Billy.
Yeah, you see, I had a feeling. Cal. Cal, always a pleasure to talk baseball with you. Again, congratulations on the anniversary, one of the all-time great feats in American sports history. And thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, this has been the MLB Network Podcast. I'm Brian Kenny. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.